This is Prasad for Women, a series of talks for fifth world women walking upright, for women like you. Prasad is a Hindu word for a substance, often food, which has been invested with divine grace or blessed. In traveling to India, I have received prasad in places like temples, where it was offered to me in the form of sweet sticky rice, crystals of sugar, or sometimes a special drink. The food had been blessed by a priest, a holy person, or a revered teacher, and it's believed that this blessing passes on to the person who receives the food. I have come to believe that women are the prasad of our times. These talks are dedicated to all women everywhere, and to the infants and girls who are growing wiser and stronger daily. They are our fifth world shining stars. Hello, my name is Debra Roberts, and I want to welcome you to this first in a series of talks for women. I've been involved in the arts and spirituality for all of my life. I'm in my 50s, and what a wonderful decade this is. Last November, I had a health crisis, and I stepped back from my life, stopping everything I was doing, stepped off the radar, got very quiet, got well, and went on pilgrimage to a variety of sacred places both in the U.S. and abroad. I stayed on this sabbatical until very recently. I have emerged from this time with this offering, this series of talks, starting with the subject of what I call fifth world women walking upright, something I've been thinking about, writing about, and talking about with other women for a long time, and especially over this last year. I want to start by sharing an experience I had in the mid-90s when I lived in New Mexico with my husband, Joe. During that time, we used to meet occasionally with a small group of people to discuss things of mutual interest, and I can't even recall what that is anymore, but one evening an elder appeared who was a guest of one of the circle. The elder was Hopi from Arizona, and his name was Thomas Benyaka. I'm guessing he was in his late 70s or 80s at the time, and he was a really wonderful person and ended up being the focus of the evening. He told us that he was sent out by his elders to carry and share a piece of Hopi prophecy with the world. It was quite remarkable to hear him talk about his elders, given his own age. He said he'd spoken at the UN, at conferences and gatherings all over the world, and basically to anyone, anywhere who would listen, and that was the purpose of his life. Here's the prophecy he shared. Thomas talked about a shifting of the worlds that was prophesied by the Hopis, that within our lifetime, the worlds would shift from what they call the fourth world to the fifth world. This shift has, in fact, already happened, and we are now in the fifth world. He said that traditionally, from a Hopi fourth world perspective, the woman was in charge of the table, the place in the home where food and nurturing and family sharing and connection happened, the heart of the home. In the fifth world, the earth is considered the table, and the woman is considered responsible for that table, responsible for the whole of the earth. That's a pretty large statement. Thomas then quietly addressed each individual woman in the circle of us gathered there and said, looking at us one by one, "It's a woman's time to step forward." And to the next woman, "It's a woman's time to step forward." And to the next woman, "It's a woman's time to step forward." Now, in some ways, for some women, this is not hugely surprising or new news. But at the time, this statement from this venerable old man carried weight. This message delivered with the breath of his Hopi elders from one of the most respected prophetic traditions in the world. I remember the little hairs going up on the back of my neck. I know that since then, this awakened something in me as a woman born for these times, as you are a woman born for these times. This something has continued to percolate over these many years, and especially in this last year when I made my own pilgrimage out to Hopi to pay my respects to Thomas's family. Thomas passed away a few years ago. I have to say that he didn't really tell me anything that I didn't know. He just brought it more into view, awakened it a little bit, stirred the pot and woke up the smell of the stew somehow. Thomas did not present this message as a feminist statement either. Our group was comprised of both men and women that evening. I believe his message also refers to the feminine nature within men, too. But Thomas especially and particularly directed this message to women that evening. He said that fifth world time means it's a woman's time to step forward fully, whether privately or publicly, whether in seemingly big or small ways, and that every woman would somehow intrinsically understand what that meant. Let me step off the path here for a second because there are also men listening to this talk, which I really appreciate. Neither Thomas's message nor any of the content of this talk is exclusive of men or anti-men. This is not an equality issue or a gender issue. I believe it's about timing. I treasure the healthy masculine within me and also outside of me in the form of my husband, my family, and some wonderful men friends. I am blessed with a beautiful husband, Joe, who has said more than one time across our marriage, unsolicited, that he feels he is here to support the feminine, and so he is. The point is that Thomas's message and this talk just happen to be particularly for women. It's simply our turn and our time. I like to think of it this way. If two children, say a boy and a girl, were playing with one rocking horse in a room, and the boy had been on the horse forever, a grandparent could come in and say, "Well, you, Eduardo, have had a good long turn. It is now Bernice's turn." It's like that. It's time for us to take a big turn. We're like a time release capsule, say one of those vitamin C time release capsules. It's our time to penetrate the bloodstream of this world. We are particularly good for the world and what the table needs right now. Here we are with life, people, government, the environment, education, families, every which way of the world exactly as it is. Whoever we are and whatever we're doing, it's our time, our table to take care of. We were born to do this right now. I never saw Thomas again, but he made a big impression on me. He didn't say what women were to do, and that was probably a good thing. He was a messenger, a male messenger, and not the message. One person amongst many, handing over a baton that some of us knew was ours anyway in these times. For some of you, that same message may have come through your grandmother or mother or father or a dream or an experience in the natural world or through an illness or any number of other ways. The message is out there in the airwaves. Let me tell you also about Ted, a beloved elder and friend named Ted Williams. When I began recording these talks recently, Ted Williams was alive. He passed away last week, and I still feel deep sadness and gratitude for the monumental spirit he was and still is. He was Tuscarora, one of the 6 nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, one of the wisest and funniest men I've ever met. Goodness, could he tell a great story. Fall off your chair kind of funny storyteller. I have always, the whole of my life, felt like this is a beneficial universe. Humans can create experiences that we call good and not good, but the universe itself is a beneficial place. A very beautiful place indeed. Ted always called it the divine and harmonious universe, and those words have permanently woven into the fabric of my language and life. The divine and harmonious universe. In what turned out to be my last conversation with Ted in the hospital recently, I talked about women and it being a woman's time right now. He looked at me and asked, "Well, where are they then?" My answer is this, a mere week after his passing. We're here, Ted, right here. We're women of the fifth world. Women walking upright in the world, and it's our time. In some ways, I feel like Thomas and Ted and a host of others, both men and women, have handed us a baton, the baton that has been ours all these many years. It is time to fully take hold of it. How do we know what to do as fifth world women? Here's what helped me answer that question, or actually rephrase that question, and become well again, after decades of dealing with some serious body challenges. The essence of understanding fifth world, I think, involves three things. The first is noticing that we are upright. To see that we are already upright. In that place, the doing, the walking reveals itself. The message here is not stand up. The message is notice that we are standing up. This is fifth world reality. In the fourth world, we were standing up, not standing up, trying to get up, dealing with the every which way of it. When we shifted to the fifth world, we stood upright. It just happened. And our recognition of this is the first 1,000% of shift in how we relate to ourselves, each other, and this earth, this table. Just the simple act of changing our perception to the fact that here we are, right here, right now, upright. Once I embraced this simple fact, then my restlessness, illness, and a lifetime of extreme type A habits, like burning the candle at a zillion ends, began to have fallen away. Over the years since meeting Thomas, and more recently since stepping back and taking a sabbatical, I've come to notice what a fifth world woman means to me, that I am already upright, and this essential truth then informs everything I choose to do. That's huge for me because I was trying to find myself through doing this. How can I do myself into being? Well, frankly, I was doing myself into the grave. We are spirits in human form, and we're going to do things, big or little. It's part of the human experience. It's part of why we're here. But first, notice we are upright. That's a huge discovery to make about ourselves as women. What else did I come to know about fifth world women? The second thing I learned is that we have choice about everything. This choice is our birthright. Remembering I have choice was very central to the recovery of my health. A year ago, I chose to simply stop doing practically everything I was doing. It took a health crisis for me to break open my thinking. It was not convenient or timely, especially for others, and it wasn't particularly fun. But it was also a huge relief. I remembered that I have choice about everything, and any thought, story, piece of advice, or voice that says different, I have found to be a lie. We have a choice about what goes on in our personal lives and in our communities, both local and global. We have the freedom to examine everything that we call reality and agree with it or not agree with it. Much of our world and how it thinks it works is based on what we're used to, asleep to, afraid of, or unconscious about. Reality is what we agree to. This upright essence that is you, that is alive and well, and always has been, brilliantly informs all your choices. This is a time to remember we have choice and to exercise that. It is waking up in us. It is how we can and will take care of the table as fifth world women. The third thing that I discovered for myself about fifth world has been said many times in many ways before, but I finally got it. It's this: we need to listen to our bodies because they never lie. They tell us how to make choices, the best choices, and they tell us how and where to walk. Our bodies do not lie. I've talked with women for years, and I am always fascinated with how our bodies help guide us. I want to share some of their signals with you. There's no right way, no right formula about this. It varies woman to woman, but notice how it is for you. Because the more we get to know the truth our body is always telling us, the more the conversation goes from a whisper to a louder tone. The more it goes from a tentative feeling to a confident one. The more it goes from what I call a corner of the eye perception to one that is right in our immediate and clear view, right front and center. One friend of mine sleeps on decisions and notices her first thought and how her body feels on awakening in the morning, and she makes major life decisions based on that. Another notices when she feels tired for no apparent reason, or if her asthma rears its head. Another notices changes in her breathing and whether she is breathing. For me, it's digestion. My digestion these days tells me within minutes, hours, or probably a day at most how I feel about anything or anyone. Does something or someone feel sensible? Do certain situations or people make you vaguely irritable, intimidated, hot? Does your breathing change? Are you breathing? Do you feel vaguely disturbed? Do you have constant sore throats? Do certain kinds of fears keep floating around in certain places inside you? What if there isn't anything wrong with any of that? Find out how your body talks to you. You might not immediately know what your body's saying, but I've learned that if I stop and listen and take the conversation seriously, it keeps me seriously upright and on track. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt and assume that what you feel in your body is correct and that it's leading you the right way, that it's an impeccable source of information, even if you're sick, addicted, or depressed, and probably especially then. It is still talking right this minute. Build this relationship because it's part of your wealth and wisdom, and you'll come to gain confidence in what you basically knew all along. My invitation to you is this: to visit and inspect these three ideas: that you are already upright, that you have a choice about everything, and that your body does not lie. It tells the truth and informs you about how to walk forward. I have found these things to be completely true, but don't take my word for this. Simply take time to consider and notice how you feel about this. These statements like, I am a fifth world woman and I am walking upright. I have choice. My body tells the truth. See if these things are true for you, and if so, where they take you. See who is there, who is really there, this already perfect, pristine essence that knows how to take care of this table, this earth. You. This talk is an invitation to see who you are right now as an upright woman with every single thing you need exactly as you are. If it's possible that this could be true for you, then this message has been worth sharing. We are here as fifth world women, and we know how to take care of the table, this earth. That is a large statement. That is an intimidating bumper sticker. I suggest we look at ourselves first and really look and start there, because that is where your caring is deeply relevant. That is where your connection to the earth and all life emanates from. How you hold and see yourself as this gorgeous, upright, drop-dead, unbelievably perfect creation, that then impeccably informs what you do in your garden, your family, your work relationships, your challenges, your life in prison, the suburbs, in your sickbed, in school, in the grocery store, in the Himalayas, wherever you find yourself. There is the offering of you, this unveiled, precious, deeply wise self. This simple awareness of who we are and that we are already upright will take us down a road, a good road, a smart road, to beneficial places, to inner resources, to right relationship, to resourceful decisions, to ever more creative ways of standing and walking, to useful and incredible doingness. We are divinely activated. Our doing in the world becomes informed by this love of ourselves, this honoring and cherishing of ourselves, and how good is that? I invite you to inspect these offerings in your quiet time, however that works for you. When you first wake up in the morning or last thing at night, at 3 in the morning when you can't sleep, when you're in the shower, when you meditate or pray or walk in nature, when you garden or make something, or when you're feeding your baby. Inspect this for yourself and see what happens. We women are that time-released vitamin capsule. These times activate us. Fifth world activates us differently than fourth world did. This is a living process. With the simple noticing, remembering, and appreciation of ourselves and what is true in these times, we women can take care of this earth and our lives in a breathtaking fashion, in a way that puts the capital in amazing. When I consider and notice who I am right now, I am finding that all the following things have fallen away. Let me tell you what I think does not matter one little bit to being upright, and that includes the contents of this CD. You don't need this. Here's what I think. We are upright no matter how we feel or what's happening around us. If it's a great and glorious day or a complete dog's breakfast. We are upright no matter our nationality, personality, age, race, or face. No matter our weight, IQ, literacy level, or our stories, our very convincing stories. We are upright even if we are addicted to drugs, alcohol, medicine, bad relationships, junk food, sugar, or television. We are upright even if we are under a veil, locked up, knocked up, burned up, feeling washed up, on antidepressants, or completely broke. We are upright whether we're healthy, sick, laying in a bed, or terminally ill. I am a cancer survivor, so I don't speak of this lightly or disrespectfully. Getting educated, getting healthier, dealing with addictions and habits, getting help and support, all of these things are vastly important. But what I'm pointing to here isn't about any of those things. I am inviting you to look at your essential nature right now and at your innate good sense and great good heart. This is our time, our challenge, our great joy, our canvas, our sacred work, our sacred trust. This earth, this time, now. We are born for these times. That has, of course, been true for women any time in history, but I believe there's a special poignancy and potency, if not urgency, to our presence as women now. It isn't personal anymore, if it ever was. What we each are, we all need, every last woman of us. Every good impulse, calling, instinct, stirring, essence, skill, ability, intuition, guidance, and dose of common sense, from the biggest big to the smallest small. All of this adds to the wealth and well-being of this world. We are the holy food for these times, the Prasad of these times. You and me exactly as we are right now. Yes, we change and grow in every moment, and that is always happening, thank goodness. But we need nothing more than ourselves in this very moment to be the activated blessing for this earth, for this table, for life right now. We make the divine visible in the world through recognizing, acknowledging, and remembering our essential natures. This recognition of our uprightness becomes a daily act of grace, and I think a way of thanking the divine for making us so. Women are milagros. Do you know that word? It's Spanish for miracles. We are milagros. We are fifth world women walking upright.